Welcome to the Ladies Kickin' Ass podcast, where we help you ignite your inner badass and create the service business of your dreams. I'm your host, Tanya Wilson, and together we'll dive into inspiring stories and expert coaching to set your journey on fire. Hello, my fellow badass ladies. Today we have got a little treat for you. You might have noticed from the graphic and from this cute face on the screen that this is not a lady. Today we've got my friend Matthew Greger with us, and he's a dynamic coach and speaker and soon to be, well, not soon to be, he's already written the book, soon to be best-selling author, we'll say that, whose mission is to inspire brilliance by helping individuals unlock their creativity and curiosity to achieve extraordinary results in life and business. I know that Matthew has a huge passion for this because he lives that himself. I wanted to bring him to you today so that you can experience what this looks like. We have so much good stuff to talk about. His upcoming book, Think Brilliance, is about harnessing these powerful traits to drive innovative, solution-based problems and lead with impact. Matthew and I actually connected through Brendan Burchard's Growth Day Ultra group, which I'm so blessed to be a part of, where we've both been diving deep in the last year into personal, professional growth with some of the brightest minds that you can possibly find. I mean, the world is just different when you surround yourself with people that want to kick ass. In fact, we're part of an exclusive mastermind where in 2025, all made the commitment to go all in and throw our fear to the side and really set the stage for a monumental breakthrough. So I can't wait to talk about that today too. We'll be chatting about the importance of surrounding yourself with a community that challenges you and inspires you, as well as digging into Matthew's creative strategies that can help all of you entrepreneurial mamas build thriving service businesses without losing your mind. So, Matthew, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. This is going to be so fun because I just love talking to you anyways. But tell our listeners what inspired you to write your new book and what you hope to get out of it by helping people with it. What's the whole premise? Like, just give us the deets.
I sure will, Tanya. I appreciate you having me on, and you are one inspiring lady. That's for sure. So what got me to write this book? You know, throughout my career and life, I've spent over 30 years in advertising, creativity, technology. And I've seen in myself just the ability to be creative, you know, and solve problems, be curious. You know, I've always been curious. And I spent a decade really learning and noticing this pattern with other people besides myself, you know, and how incredible things can happen when you become curious about them. And then you can get creative. And so Think Brilliance is about how to harness the power of curiosity and creativity. And it's about inspiring brilliance, which really just means to motivate and elevate others to achieve their highest potential. By nurturing curiosity and creativity, encouraging them to share their unique talents in a meaningful and impactful way. Think Brilliance, I created a framework that it's my way of making the process accessible and easy for people to use. It's a guide, really, structured but flexible, and it helps people open up their minds, embrace exploration, and push past those traditional boundaries. It's about finding unique solutions, thinking differently, and unlocking potential in a way that feels authentic and doable.
Sure. I think that's something that we've kind of lost in today's world. It's like curiosity. I mean, I grew up in Wyoming, like, you didn't have shit to do anyways. You might as well, like, oh, I wonder how that works. Or like, I wonder where that goes. Or like, you know, like trails or something, you know, like we were always like discovering new things. And I think that was a beautiful foundation for all the things I've been able to do entrepreneurially, because it's like, I wonder what will happen if I do this. I wonder what will happen if I do this. how do you see the world today in how they utilize creativity? Would you like to see more of this? Is that kind of motivation for the book? Why did you land on like curiosity?
Well, I've always been curious. I enjoy learning new things, figuring them out.
Mhm.
I think we lose that as we get older. If you go back to our childhood days and we can remember growing up and just everything that we explored was exciting to us. We lose that excitement these days. I mean, I can remember when I was 5 years old, my grandfather gave me a pocket watch. It was cool. I looked at it. I could see the hands moving, but I wanted to know how it worked. So I
Mhm.
took it apart and I could see the gears. I could see the actual ruby jewels that were in there and I could see them moving and it was cool. It excited me. Putting it back together was a different talent that I didn't have at that age, but it was great to see. And I've never lost that. I mean, even standing in line in the airport, asking a question, I'm wondering, watching what's going on. I'm seeing them take the luggage and it goes through the conveyor belt and through those little vertical blinds at the end and then disappears. And I want to know, okay, what happens to my luggage afterwards? I can't see it. So I'm
Sure.
imagining things that are happening. Are
Sure.
the Oompa Loompas that are taking it and putting it on a cart and putting it on the plane for you? Is it going through a barcode scanner and just getting
Yep.
there? How does your bag make it to that plane? So
Yeah.
that's the way my mind works. And I think curiosity is really important, especially when you're struggling with a problem. If you can if you can get curious about the problem versus worrying about the problem, you can start thinking about how can I solve this in a curious way?
Yeah.
And curiosity and creativity, they work hand in hand. They're kind of like a dynamic duo. The more
Yeah.
curious you get, the more creative you can become because you can come up
Sure.
with a bunch of ideas being curious and now you can apply your creativity to it. So it's curiosity gets you asking the right questions. It's the spark that says, what's possible here? You know, why does this work the way it does? And then creativity steps in and gives you ideas on how to solve those problems or let's figure it out and make something amazing out of this.
Yeah. I think something that we lose too is curiosity about other people. Like for me, like you're looking at the conveyor belts and wondering where the bag is going. I'm staring at the person next to me like, huh, like wonder what their story is. And sometimes I end up making that up in my head. And many times the ladies in the office and I will make up these we're like, oh, did you hear that guy on the phone? I wonder what he looks like. And then there's like this big picture of like, I wonder who these people are, like the curiosity of getting to wondering and then taking it the next level to actually ask or seek the answers to those things. That's where you start learning. I think that's been so instrumental in the group that we've been a part of is that we ask so many questions to each other. Like
Hmm.
I've gotten to know the 12, well, there's lots more than 12, but I'm talking like a couples group that we were all a part of. I've got to know those people so well, like way better than I've known people that have been in my life for way longer amounts of time because there was a curiosity aspect that we wanted to get to know each other more. And,
Right.
it's like the little things that we just moved to a new house and the neighbors my kids and I played this little game that we tried to get all of the people in our neighborhood to wave at us, okay? Because I'm trying to teach my kids, like, even if they don't wave to you and they don't say hi to you, you still say hi to them. So my kids would make fun of me forever because in the morning I'm always like, oh, hello, as we're driving down the road. They're like, they can't hear you, Mom. And I'm like, yeah, but you're paying attention. They're watching. And even if they don't, so this like crotchety old man that's walking down the road all the time. Yesterday, I waved at him and I was like, oh, hello. And I have my window down and he waved. Finally, he waved. And it was like that. I was like, maybe he's not so cranky after all. I'm like, don't you like kind of wonder like what makes him be like that, and like what makes him tick? And it was a great conversation with my kids. And I think just asking questions and that curiosity on the level of people to people is super important too.
Indeed. I mean, when I shop with my wife and we go out there, I'm usually the one that gets to carry all the bags, and I'll try to find the seat to sit down. And I enjoy watching people,
Mm-hmm.
just seeing how they move, what they're carrying themselves, how they're dressed. What are they thinking? I get in my mind, what are they thinking right now as they're walking through the mall or doing something like that? And
Sure.
some of my favorite questions are, what if, and wouldn't it be great if? And it's not what if in a bad way, like, oh, what if I do this, this bad thing's going to happen? It's like, what if in a positive way? What if I can do this? What's it going to get? My favorite word in with my teams has been, wouldn't it be great if, wouldn't it be great if we could actually do this and accomplish this?
Yeah.
When you can gather a team together and you can remove some of the restrictions. In the book, I have a framework called the Think Brilliance framework, and it's comprised of curiosity, creativity, divergence, exploration, and the most important, which is connections. But divergence just means coming up with a bunch of ideas that are not restricted on anything. So when you're thinking about things, you don't put restrictions on them in the beginning, whether it's monetary or is this even possible. It's just about brainstorming and coming up with a bunch of ideas. And then you use exploration to really kind of explore those ideas. Are they feasible? And then you can narrow it down to what you're doing. And then you get creative on how you can use some of those ideas, and you just get curious and you feed into it. But wouldn't it be great if is like the best question that you can do. And if you want to learn to be more curious, just ask how and what if in all kinds of areas of your life, whether it's personal or professional. It opens the
Yeah.
doors.
I love that you said that. I was pulling my phone up because I just ordered a sign to put in my house today that said, when I saw it, I was like, huh, what a spin. And it said, what's the best that could happen? And people don't like, I think our minds, a lot of us go to like, oh shit, what's the worst that could happen? Well, what's
Right.
the worst that could happen? I mean, you hear that all the time. I hear that all the time. I've never heard it said like, what's the best that could happen? Like just shifting the way that you look at things is so incredibly important. It's crazy to me. I just think it's fantastic. How do you think that this relates, the curiosity part? We've talked a lot on the podcast about being curious about the people that come in that you're hiring, the people that currently work on your team, and how to build a really authentic, strong culture of people. How do you think being curious as a business owner with your team is a benefit for the company?
Wow. Yeah, if you can learn to be curious, especially about what you guys are doing as a team, and if you just take a problem, for instance, or you want to do something new, or you want to try something, if you can become curious about different ways to do it, it can open up the doors and it can help have that mind shift that you're talking about earlier, where you can,
Sure.
the possibilities are endless. And when you can remove the limitation, it opens up a new door. And
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of hard to explain until you start to actually try it. And then you
Sure.
get into it.
Limits people from being able to discover their brilliance. When we're on this topic, like, if you would, this is what could happen. Like, what do you think, like, is the just catalyst is like, oh, hell, I can do this, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, they're almost fearful of their own potential, which we
And,
talk about all the time.
and you just hit it on the nail on the head right there when you said fearful. It's the fear of failure, the self-doubt, and just getting stuck in the same patterns of thinking. People tend to underestimate how much those things really hold them back. And the Think Brilliance framework is really designed to break free from that. It starts with curiosity, asking questions, and challenging those old assumptions. Then it builds on that with creativity, helping you to see new possibilities. And finally, it emphasizes with connection, which is key because it brings in new perspectives and support. It's about creating an environment where people feel empowered to grow, learn, and thrive.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's huge. I think another thing as far as like unlocking that inside of your employees. I was having a great meeting today. I was meeting with our franchisor partners and my marketing person at my company, and we were talking about business development as far as like what our brand strategy is behind selling franchises, right? And
Hmm.
it was very interesting to get somebody that has on my team that hasn't been involved in the franchisor development at all. But she was in there. Actually, we were doing like lead generation training stuff. And she was sitting in there and she just kept sitting in the meeting for like an hour and a half afterwards because somebody else was using my computer. And I was like, I'm so sorry. We just like took over your computer. She's like, this is fascinating to watch just how you guys' minds work and like them being able to kind of see the behind the scenes type of stuff.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
right after, it makes me emotional because right after we had just left, I saw she had posted this really cool meme on LinkedIn, her LinkedIn. I've been getting her to get her stuff together on LinkedIn. And she had posted a thing that like, it's a pleasure to work at Priority Pumping. And the meme was like, it's a feeling of belonging, because there's people here that actually care about you. Like we're a family because they care, We're not family by blood, we're family that cares, like just like a little poem thing. And I was like, how cool that you can just inspire people that way to even start thinking outside of the box. Like she comes to work and she's a badass social media person and she does all this, but because I involved her in one thing and got her to start thinking outside of what
Hmm.
she does
Hmm.
every day, now her curiosity is like, oh my God, how can I help you? I got a text message like, how, like, what are we doing here? Like everybody's fired up after this meeting. And it's so cool to build that, like, we're thinking like crazy in there. That is like brilliance that she's watching, like, oh my gosh, they're building something here that she'd never seen before. And being able to bring people into your world when you're doing things like that is just so incredibly cool. So I think like working, like trying to do that in the work field, when you can inspire them to do big things and you can inspire them to get creative and think bigger, like we're always trying to do, you can build a beautiful team. And people worry about retention and all these things. Like, that's what you got to do. Like, inspire them to think brilliantly in what they can do with their lives. Like, such a
Indeed.
cool concept. This
Yeah.
would be a great read for your team at work.
And that was like bringing connections together, and what I'm talking about with different connections. You brought someone in that doesn't know really what you were doing. You expose them to what's going on with the franchise. And the question I have for you is, did you ask her questions about what she thought? Did you ask her any input on what was going on? Because sometimes it's good to get
Mhm.
somebody unfamiliar with what you're doing, because you can be so focused on what you're doing that they might be able to bring a different perspective that you're completely unaware of.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to tomorrow. I purposely didn't because I wanted her to think about it.
Okay. Okay.
But I want to see that for what that is, like bringing in new perspectives and new fresh eyeballs. Sometimes you just beat
Hmm.
shit up for so long, you're like, I don't know, I can't do this anymore. When it's literally one ask or one person away from a new perspective that you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that
And
before.
that can shift you in such a yeah, and it can shift you a different direction, because you can just be completely stuck, and that one perspective can change it and give you a completely new idea, or it could even solve that thing that has been bugging you for a while.
Yes, and that's why it's good to have a group of people around you that you can do all of that stuff. I think it's so important that you do that. How I want to know a little bit behind the book. We know the book is about brilliance and curiosity, and I cannot wait to do this. In fact, the first 5 people that share this, I'm going to send you one of Matthew's books because I think it is an incredible read. People need to have this in their lives. We just need to like bring back the fun and creativity and curiosity of stuff. I mean, like where the hell does that go as you get older? It's like now you got a to-do list that's 5 miles long, so you don't have time to dream anymore. Like we need to start doing these things. It's crazy. But what do you think? How were you inspired to write a book? Because when I met you, I don't know if this was your game plan before we got into this mastermind, but Matthew is one of these people, ladies, that he is like, I'm making a decision and I go. And it's the most inspiring thing ever, because Matthew's one of those people in your circle that you're just I feel like I'm constantly chasing. Like, I want to do what Matthew does. He's very disciplined. He's very good at things. So what inspired you to write a book? Because that shit's not easy.
Yeah, well, it started with Ashley Mansour's Book Accelerator program, and I took a boot camp. It was a free boot camp. I actually did it for a SCORE client of mine because I wanted to learn about the book writing process and about that. And I got into it, and it made me really think about how I can tell my story and how I can get it out there and how it can enhance my coaching business. So I really wrote it to be a business card, to open the door and to give me some sort of authority on what I'm talking about, as well as be able to put my stories together in one central location that I can then build from.
Sure.
And, I've got my own stories are in there about creativity and inspiration and some of the challenges I've had throughout my life and how I used them and how I solved them, as well as examples from others in the book. And to be able to pull those different stories together, I think is something that I really enjoy doing. And it also, like, for instance, Temple Grandin, she's a wonderful woman who also is on the autism spectrum. And she actually does a lot of work in the autism area, but she was curious growing up all her life about livestock and cattle. And she went into that male dominated industry of livestock and cattle and how to do it. But she got on the level of the cows and got to get curious about how they see things and what they did. And even though you were still using it as a primary meat source, you still need to treat the animals with respect and what they're doing. And she does the way she designed and could see with her mind how the animals move, and she completely revolutionized the cattle industry. And it's an amazing story that's in the book, and another one from Margaret Knight, who is the inventor of the paper bag machine. She's also known as one of the Lady Edisons, and she was taken to court where someone was trying to steal her patent, and they basically just said that a woman couldn't have created this, and she defended herself and won. But just the curiosity and the creativity of what she did, because she wanted to revolutionize really the whole shopping industry and creating a flat bottom bag that could be used and a machine that could create it. But so these are some of the stories that are in the book that I wanted to put out there.
Like, of course you want to read that now. Like, now you want to know what she did. And it can be something like that where you're like, it's a paper bag, big deal. It was a big deal to her. And look at it has appeared in a book. Like, how long ago was that, Matthew, that happened?
Well, that was, I think, in the late 1800s. Yeah.
It's like we talk about all the time. You never really know. Like, she's trying to revolutionize a bag, and we're talking about this over 100 years later. I'd call that a pretty awesome ripple effect, that you're still affecting people all those years later because you stood up for something and you went for something and you achieved something. Like,
indeed.
It's so huge. I know we talk about that and we listen to that in Ultra all the time. Like, you just really have no idea what the impact is that you're going to make when you decide to make a choice and be a bold person. I think thinking brilliantly and getting outside of your everyday norm and getting creative and curious again is so important. So important. So I would like to ask you a couple of questions.
Okay.
We have been in a mastermind group together for over a year. And I would love to hear your opinion on how it has affected you by investing in yourself to get into a group of people that want to win.
Yeah. I think I wouldn't have written the book if I hadn't been in this group. I'm an introvert. I've been in technology, graphic designs, marketing, and advertising, but I've been the guy on the back end that makes sure things work. I didn't want to be in the front line. I would never think that I'd be on a podcast or video or anything like that. And it's taken me out of my comfort zone. It's helped me grow. It's forced in a way, I won't say forced me, but it's given me the tools to actually do the work, to put personal growth in motion. And the connections that I've made with people have been outstanding. And it's so important that we surround ourselves with people that can help us move forward. And I think what excites me the most is when can be part of something of getting a group of people together or starting like our little mastermind that we have that we're working on. And then I see you guys take it to another level and you connect in a different way, that you're meeting up with each other, that you're helping each other out. That brings me the most satisfaction. Even if I'm not part of that, seeing that I brought people together to help that be possible, that's all it means to me. It's just, and seeing you guys light up and seeing us all make progress.
Yeah.
Probably is the most satisfying thing that I know of.
Yeah, it is. That's beautiful, because it is so much. And you know what? Sometimes when you find yourself, I think most entrepreneurs or people that are trying to build, maybe not out on their own yet, but they're trying to build a little side hustle and they're trying to get out there and they're trying to build a business. It's the whole, like, nobody understands me. Nobody around me understands this. Like, if I put this out here, does anybody even notice? Like, you need to have that team of cheerleaders. And it's not fake shit cheerleading either. Like, if you got the right people around you, it's dynamite, because nothing makes you want to continue going like hearing that you affected someone else. I think at the end of the day, that's what we're all trying to do, is take our knowledge or our kindness or our wisdom or our wit and funny and humor and brilliance and be able to affect someone else with it. And many times we get defeated or deflated because we don't affect someone fast enough. If you want to affect people quickly, get into a group of people that are there to genuinely support each other and to genuinely be honest with you, because sometimes you want to throw stuff out and you're like, I don't know. And a lot of people that love us will just say, oh, it's cute, or it's I love it. Even though they're like, oh, that sounded like crap,
I know,
I
but
love having a group that will be like, here's my feedback. Like, I'm going to give you honest feedback. And if you're in the right group, you feel safe being able to give it to someone and you feel like they still love you after you receive it from them because they want to see you win. So I think that's been one of the most beautiful things for me, because I didn't have that group of people. I didn't at all.
Yeah,
What do you think, like, when people get into groups like this, like, what do you think maybe some of the obstacles of joining a group where they can have these kind of influences around them?
Well, I mean, the first one, again, it kind of goes back to the fear aspect and confidence, because you want to get out there and start talking with them. I mean, if you can find a group and that inspires you too some way, maybe there's people that are in there, and then you can share stories and learn from each other's experiences and build a community that supports and uplifts you. I think that's most important. The collective brilliance is a powerful catalyst for innovation and growth. And if you can just take that first step, and that's reach out, find a group of people that you can join and you can contribute. Just remember, you're not just there to listen and kind of partake. You should also speak up and talk too. Tell your story. You'd be amazed how many people want to know about you in a genuine way too. And I think that what's most satisfying is when you can help, whether you're just listening or you can actually contribute. It's key.
Sure. What is one of your, if you'll indulge us, what is one of your biggest fears about stepping out and putting this book out into the world?
That I'll get ridiculed. That maybe it'll expose I really don't know what I'm talking about. Sometimes I have that fear too, that, okay, does it really make sense? Somebody's gonna read something about it and give me that negative feedback, or
Sure.
you know, um, and so that's always there. I mean, my aunt actually said, "Who am I to write a book? Yeah, I don't have the education or the clout to be an author." And the point is these are my stories, and if I can help just one person, I feel I've done my job. And okay, maybe I'm not, a New York Times bestseller. Maybe I will be someday. I don't know.
Yet.
But yeah,
Yet.
yet. But but I have a way of telling a story that someone's going to listen to, and
Mm-hmm.
they're going to enjoy reading it. It
Yep.
may not be for everybody, but that's okay. That's why we have
Will not
choices,
be
and that's
for
why we have
everybody.
options, right?
Nothing is for everybody. Think about it. Like, nobody even likes like sugar, you know? Like, who doesn't like ice cream? Some people don't like ice cream, you know?
That's right.
Like, that's what I think about all the time. What's the best that could happen with you writing this book?
The best that could happen is that I'm accepted, and that people actually ask me for advice. They actually want to listen, and they enjoy my story, and they learn something from it. When I can hear from somebody that says, "I read your book and it helped me, or changed my life, or it helped me get unstuck, and now
Yeah.
I've moved on, or I've conquered that problem I had, or I've come up with some new ideas, and I did this." That's what I want to hear.
I love that. And thank you for indulging on this because I just totally sprung that on you. But I think this is a great example of I was scared and I did it anyways. And these,
Mhm.
even you've got naysayers, we all have naysayers in our family. Mine would probably be my own parents. I get that 1,000,000%. But who is she to judge you to saying that you don't have enough clout? Does she have clout? I don't
Right.
think so. So
Right.
it's one of those things where, in spite of, Matthew continued with what his goals were. And it's not about proving someone wrong. And it's not about proving that you have it or you don't. It is about you being able to say, I made a goal and a commitment to
Mhm.
myself to write this book, and I did it. And I put it out. And this is not a small thing. Like, writing a book is one of those big things that they're like, it's one of like the top hardest things that you could do is like actually sit down, put the words together, get it to come out and actually make sense. Which yours makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. So I think it can affect a lot of people in a lot of different ways. Thinking brilliantly isn't just pigeonholed into one little thing. It's not about just you or your team or you with your kids or your family, anything like that. It really is an internal structure that you build for yourself of where you can use that technique and the framework that Matthew has and apply it to many different aspects of your life. So I think it is for everybody if they choose to want to do that. Curiosity is and thinking outside the box and being brilliant, that's a choice. You can choose to stay stuck or you can choose to live an extraordinary life. And that's definitely what you are doing. Matthew, indulge us a little bit on why you decided to become a coach and who your ideal client is if there's someone out there listening that's like, hey, I want to work with this.
Yeah, I decided that I wanted to be a coach because I really want to serve and give back and help
Mhm.
others. My ideal client is a professional, an entrepreneur, or a leader, someone that wants to make a difference in their business and their organization, and they need help with coming up with ideas and discovering what's next. How to solve problems better, how to discover new ideas, how to innovate. I see so many people that have employees that are stuck. Don't you want to go to work and be excited about going to work? What's it take to do that? And so my ultimate goal is to be able to go into small business and help them innovate again, and
Mhm.
take the Think Brilliance framework and be able to teach people how to be curious, how to be creative. In my mind, there's nothing more fulfilling then seeing someone discover that aha moment, and they discover something inside them that they maybe didn't realize they were capable of doing. And if I can help bring that out, that's it makes it all worthwhile for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know for personal just conversations with Matthew, he's an excellent coach because he coaches all of us all the time. He has great suggestions and he's a great listener. And if that's something that you are looking for, Matthew is a great choice for that. Matthew, if people want to connect with you, where is the best place for them to be able to find you on social? And secondly, tell us when the book comes out, what it's called, and where they can get it at.
Sure thing. It's just Matthew Greger, MatthewGreger, and that's both on Instagram and LinkedIn. And the book comes out January 14th. Pre-launch is January 7th. You can get the ebook then. And you can go to my website, thinkbrilliancebook.com, and you can sign up and you'll be notified when all these events happen. And you can also download the introduction and the first chapter to get a taste of what the book's about. So that's exciting.
We'll put that in the show notes. So it's easy access. So you can jump right in there. Matthew's got a cool little quiz and stuff on his website too. So definitely check that out if you're kind of like, how does this apply to me? Like, he has great resources. And I'm sure that they will just continue to come out as you order the book. So that is definitely something that you'll want to sit down and just read through, like incorporate. I can't express enough how much my life has completely changed since I decided to invest in myself. And there's so many people that are so fucking doubtful right now on like, well, what should I buy? What should I invest in? Where should I spend my money? What should I do with my time? You'll never get a better return on your investment than investing in yourself. And that is investing in a coach. And if you don't have means to invest in a coach, then invest in a book. And if you can't do that, watch the pre-launch, because that ebook is going to be very, very affordable. And if you can't do that, you shoot me a DM and I will send you one, because I think this is a beautiful topic. It's one that we haven't covered a lot on the podcast here, but this is something that will help give you another tool in your toolbox to be able to just be that little step above and really stand out there, because after all, that's really what it's about if you're building a business. And so I think this is a great tool for you to be able to use. So Matthew, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. This is so much fun. You're a natural, so we got to get you on some more podcasts. So that will be fantastic. And I'll be promoting a bunch about the book. I can't wait for that to come out. And until next time, ladies, keep kicking ass.
Thank you, Tanya.
Thanks for being part of the Ladies Kickin' Ass community. Cheers to all you badass women out there. Keep rocking your power, igniting your fire, and making waves in the service industry. If you loved today's episode, please do me a quick favor. Take a screenshot, post it, and tag us at Ladies Kickin' Ass. Be sure to include the link to your favorite episode. Your support in spreading the word means the world to us as we aim to empower even more women. Hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for more kick-ass episodes. And don't forget, a 5-star review is the ultimate high five. Connect with us on social media. All the links are in the show notes. Thank you for being part of our tribe. Now go kick some serious ass, lady.